Hello everybody. So I wanted to get into the head of Chris Boozy for the moment, and I wanted to just imagine that I'm him. Okay, that means I've got to be black, I've got to be American. Oh well, I can manage that. Everything else, perfectly fine with. Someone that's got a bit of analysis experience and knowledge, got that. Somebody who knows about disinformation, got that. Somebody who knows how to write computer programs, got that. Somebody who knows how to knows what disinformation is. Yeah, got that in spades. So, all set, we're good to go. We can write ourselves our app for bot Sentinel. Now, so we got the skills, got the knowledge, got the ambition. Well, I'm going to imagine I've got the ambition. I just got to imagine I'm a black American. That's the only things I've got to imagine. So, not American, obviously. And, well, certainly not African American at least. Now, going to start ourselves off. I'm heading on to Twitter. Why am I heading on to Twitter? Oh, that's right, because Twitter is a cesspool of bullying. Oh yeah, forgot to say, yeah, I'm quite a bit of an expert on bullying as well, particularly cyberbullying. Good on me. So I've gone on to Twitter. The only reason I can think to go onto Twitter is because it's an absolute cesspool of bullying. It's just ridiculous. There are people who are killing themselves because of bullying on Twitter. And I mean, I know they do that anywhere, but it seems to be worse on Twitter. It seems as if there's more reports, and I generally got the feeling it's a lot worse on there with that sort of bullying, that sort of hate. It just, for whatever reason, it's happening more on Twitter. So I'm going there for that reason, because I'm just saying, all right, I'm not going to go to the safest places. I'm not going to go to Facebook or, or somewhere safer. I'm going to go to one of the worst ones. So I've gone on to Twitter. I mean, you could have gone into Wikipedia as well, but perhaps Wikipedia, they've got some horrendous bullying. Perhaps for whatever reason you've just decided, well, you've given up on Wikipedia. They're just going to have bullying. So, or we just flipped a coin. Gone onto Twitter. All right. So we've gone onto Twitter to combat bullying. Now we decided to write a bot. Why? I was just sort of thinking, why are we writing a bot? Bots make bullying worse. Ban bots are horrible things. What, he's going to make one to humiliate people by making them out to be bad or good people and give them a rating that's public for regular people. Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. Trying to wrap my head around that. I mean, how does that help? I mean, if it was celebrities, you can understand that. Public figures, yeah, okay, but you're just doing it for everyone. I mean, surely you're going to get some false positives that are going to lead to a lot of bullying. I mean, you always get false positives with anything you do, but to have that as a consequence when you're trying to stop bullying, surely that's not a good idea. Just have to scratch my head about that. But anyway, we've done that. Done that anyway. Then we go a bit further, and we've decided, all right, so we've got this anti-bullying app, the bot, on probably the world's most foremost spot for bullying, and you're using a bot, which is a tool that makes bullying worse, and you're shaming people. I'm just trying to understand the logic there. Anyway, nonetheless, ignoring that, let's just presume that actually helps. Let's just imagine. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but let's just imagine it does. Alright, so he understands that disinformation is a tool of the government, right? He's understanding that. He's understanding that it's actually a tool of your own government. Disinformation from foreign governments doesn't affect you. He knows that, yeah? So he's completely ignoring anything from any country other than his own. Well, of course, that does affect its own country people who are also probably using Twitter. So perhaps you could argue with that. And he does understand that disinformation is so complicated, so embroiled with facts, that it's really hard to work out. I mean, you have to, I suppose if you were going to work it out, you'd be looking through the conspiracy theories, because without a conspiracy theory, you can't have disinformation. So you'd have to look for the agents of disinformation, so the false conspiracy theories and the useful idiots, which are the true conspiracy theories, that are just wrong. So they're genuine but wrong. So they're the two types of conspiracy theories that lead to disinformation. You'd also have to look at a story that's politically based, has the potential to humiliate the government, if the truth was known. So you're going to have to get really complicated on this and really specific. But could you do it as a bot? You'd have to get very specific. You're saying, all right, so people peddling this. So you'd be talking about the president, high-ranking government officials. Of course, they wouldn't all be that. Some of them would be in disguise. They'd be CIA, NSA, all those sorts of people. They'd be going onto Twitter spreading these lies. So stage one would be I suppose there'd be a few stages, but one of the stages that you'd notice would be that they'd be supporting this either false conspiracy theory or incorrect conspiracy theory, whilst they also simultaneously push a false official story so as to hide the third story, which is the true story. Oh my goodness, this would be so complicated. Hard enough to do manually, let alone have a bot. But let's just imagine you did write a bot. Goodness, that'd be complicated. Probably beyond me. I mean, I can barely work out disinformation as it is, but is there someone in the world that's good enough at it that can work out a bot that can just automate the process? I don't think there is. I don't think that's even possible. Certainly not with the level of disinformation that's being spread at the moment. I mean, it's really complicated. It's not like we're in simple times like perhaps World War II levels of disinformation or Roman Empire levels. That you could possibly automate, working that out. Like if you went through Roman Empire disinformation from 2,000 years ago and you're going, all right, we'll work this out, we'll get a bot to automate it. And I mean, maybe that could be machine learning. You start with something that long ago, sort of work your way through as, it's progressed. Maybe that's how you do it. But if you manage to do this, you'd be a genius. Oh my goodness, you could automate disinformation detection. Wow, that's never been done before. I mean, Edward Snowden would be very happy. So would WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. But then, what's going to happen? We know what happened to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Goodness, you'd probably be targeted for assassination. You'd be worried. You'd be looking around your shoulder because you're exposing your government's biggest secrets. And how does that help bullying? Well, disinformation and bullying are completely different things. Bullying comes from everyday people. Disinformation comes from government. What's the connection? Doesn't seem to be a connection. In fact, if you're going to tackle bullying, you could do so without getting any fears from the government. In fact, I'd rather tackle bullying. Goodness, tackling disinformation would be so complicated and hard to do. And he isn't. He is making no attempts to tackle disinformation. He says he is, but he's using Hillary Clinton's dishonest 2016 definition of disinformation, which is essentially anything that disagrees with the government, or at least the democratic government. Whoops, that's not what disinformation is. In fact, it's misinformation or possibly even disinformation to believe that is disinformation. That's not what disinformation is at all, even slightly. And her claims that Russian disinformation, that wasn't Russian disinformation, that was WikiLeaks. Facts, not even dishonest. Not any kind of dishonesty, it was just facts. Anyway, so he's eaten the Hillary Clinton pie, just completely has no idea what disinformation is. Thank goodness he's not in trouble with the government. That's great. With no government, he's not going to have to look over his shoulder. Isn't that great? Now, is he tackling bullying? Well, it doesn't appear so. He sort of forgot about that. He was busy pretending he was tackling disinformation whilst actually making it worse. Because Hillary Clinton's definition is the opposite of tackling disinformation. It's encouraging it and worsening misinformation, all that sort of stuff. So he's making that stuff worse. Good. Well, at least he's not in trouble with the government. And he's pretending, so that's good. And what's he doing to tackle bullying? Oh, he's stopping people with Meghan Markle and Amber Heard. And I mean, it is probably true that Meghan Markle and Amber Heard have been targeted by bullies, but not because they're the victims, just because when these bullying groups do this sort of thing, they tend to target celebrities to justify their unjustifiable behaviour. But it's not Amber Heard and Meghan Markle that have to fear, it's the other people that they tackle. They just want to get their credibility in there because they're horrible people. So they target unpopular celebrities. So he's obviously got himself a bit confused if he thinks that that's how you detect who are these bullies. That's not how you detect them. You don't detect them because they're opposing unpopular celebrities. Nor do you suggest that celebrities can be targeted for bullying. They're public figures. It's a completely different scenario. I mean, private individuals can be targeted for bullying. These are celebrities. And they're unpopular for a reason. I mean, certainly Amber Heard is, and I don't know that much about Meghan Markle's situation, but Amber Heard lost a court case because she was lying. And then, now we know the reason. We know that Chris Boozy was paid by Amber Heard. We know that she paid him to lie. To be an expert witness. And he probably did all this other stuff. But that probably wasn't the reason for Bot Sentinel. But perhaps it's the reason that she's on his list as an example of bullying. He'll ban everybody who disagrees with her, everybody who points out what she did wrong. Yes, some of them are bullies, some of them are stalkers, but most of them aren't. And the ones that are bullies, that's not their bullying. They're doing that to justify themselves so that they can do the really bad bullying. You know, so we're a little bit misled if we think that that's how we can tell if they're bullies. That's not how you can tell. He doesn't seem to be doing anything to stop actual bullying. Doesn't seem to be doing anything to stop the people who are actually breaking their rules. So why is he doing it? Well, obviously to help Amber Heard, that's one thing, because she's paying him. Is Meghan Markle paying him? Well, possibly. I don't know that she is, but that'd make sense. And what's the whole rest of it? Is it a power trip? Is he on this massive power trip? Is he a bully? Is he doing this to hide his own disgusting behaviour? Because this whole excuse he's giving doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's it from me. Bye-bye.